Dad agreed to it, Lainey. You weren't there. You're never there.
Marky, sweetheart, indoor voice. Lainey, honey, I just want what's best for everyone. And right now, what's best is you take a hot bath and let your brother handle the paperwork. Here's what I know. I was at that cemetery this morning. The dogwood is dead, and there are 2 names on Daddy's headstone. 8 months earlier, the same kitchen had held a different silence. The casseroles from Greg's funeral were still in the freezer. The dogwood at the cemetery was still alive. June, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how to do a Tuesday without him. I keep setting 2 coffee cups. Let me tell you something. Set 3. Set 1 for me. I'll drive down Saturday, and we'll drink them cold on your porch, like a couple of old ladies. I'm 40 next year. I'm not an old lady yet. Honey, you buried a husband at 38. You earned the chair.
The call from Dottie came on a Sunday morning, polite as a hymn. Sweetheart, would you swing by Daddy's plot on your way to the clinic? The dogwood needs watering. Your brother's been so busy with the firm, and you know how I am about driving on the bypass. I can stop after my shift, Mom. What's the rush on the dogwood? Oh, no rush, honey. I just want what's best for everyone, and your grandparents would want it tended. Mark says he's going to upgrade the whole plot here soon. New border stones. He's such a thoughtful boy. Upgrade the plot? Did Daddy ask for that? Sweetheart, you sound tired. Have you been sleeping? Live Oak Memorial Gardens sat at the back of a low coastal Carolina cemetery, where the live oaks made a green ceiling and the headstones leaned slightly with the sandy soil. Lainey parked at the 3rd row and walked. She found the dogwood first. The leaves were brown at the edges, the soil at the base pale and dry. She knelt and put her palm flat against the dirt. She did not cry. She looked up. The headstone had 4 names where there should have been 2. Her grandparents' names on the left. On the right, where the granite had been blank her whole life, Hal R. Boyd, Dottie M. Boyd. Dates of birth, a long dash, a space for the second date. Daddy's alive. Daddy is alive, and they put his name on a stone. Who does that? Who does that? She took a photograph. She took a photograph from 3 angles. She sat on the grass for a long time. The drive from the cemetery to her parents' coastal retirement condo took 11 minutes. Lainey took 23. She needed her hands to stop shaking before she rang the bell. Now you listen, kiddo. You don't ring the bell at your own father's house. Door's open. Always has been. Where's the lure I tied you? It's in my purse, Daddy. I haven't been out on the water yet. Then it's a lure in a purse. That's a sin against a knot. Sit down. Your mother's making sweet tea like the world's gonna end. Daddy, I drove past the cemetery on my way over. I want to ask you a question, and I want you to answer it like I'm not your little girl. Did you and Mom decide to put your names on the family stone with Grandma and Grandpa? Did we what now? Your name, on the stone, next to Grandma's. I planted that dogwood for your mother in 1979. I'd know my own name on a stone, Lainey. No, I did not. Dottie came in from the kitchen with the sweet tea pitcher, set it down, and laughed the small half-beat laugh. Oh, you two and your serious faces. Hal, honey, you remember, last summer, we were sitting on the back porch with Mark and we talked about planning ahead. Now you listen, Dottie. I remember the dogwood. I remember our wedding. I remember the day Lainey got her front teeth. I do not remember saying yes to a stone. Sweetheart, that's because you've been forgetful. It's perfectly natural at your age. I just want what's best for everyone. The front door opened without a knock. Mark walked through it the way he had walked through it for 44 years. Hey, what's all the heavy weather? I could hear Lainey's voice from the driveway. Sis, you good? You look thin. I'm fine, Mark. I was asking Daddy about the headstone.
Look, with respect, can we not do this in front of Mom on a Sunday? The cemetery thing is a billing error. I'll get it fixed Monday. A billing error doesn't engrave a name in granite. Sis, you're grieving. Nobody blames you for getting your wires crossed about a checking account. I love you. I'm handling it. Mom, where's that tea? Kaylee was on the couch, 17, slouched, a phone in one hand and a glass of tea balanced on her knee. She looked up once when Mark said the firm, and looked back down. She picked at the cuff of her sleeve. I'm just saying, Dad, Aunt Lainey doesn't get her wires crossed. She does insurance codes all day. Kaylee, eat a cracker. Lainey, walk me out. On the porch, the sky was the color of a bruise, and the wind off the marsh had teeth. Look, with respect, sis, you can't show up rattled in front of Dad. His memory is going. You and I both see it. Mom's exhausted. I am asking you, as your brother, to let me handle the paperwork on this one.
Mark, did you sign for that engraving? I signed as the authorized family representative, which is what I am, because somebody has to be. And you paid for it with what account? Lainey, go home, drink some wine, call your friend the paralegal. Tomorrow you'll feel silly about this. She did not call June from the porch. She drove to the cemetery. She sat in her car in the parking lot at dusk, with the engine off and the marsh going dark at the edges. 3 hours later, her phone lit on the passenger seat. A text from Kaylee. You okay? I'm fine, sweetheart. Are you? I'm just saying, Dad doesn't call Granddad on Sundays. He calls Granddad's bank. Lainey set the phone face down on the dash. She opened her laptop. She opened a blank document. She put her hands on the keys and waited until they stopped trembling. They stopped. Here's what I know, sweetheart. Your brother told me about your little outburst last night, and I just want what's best for everyone. Please, leave the cemetery thing alone. Mama, it wasn't an outburst. It was a question. Honey, you asked it with your face. Then my face is going to ask the cemetery office on Monday. Lainey, don't. Lainey set the phone down and wrote the appointment in pen. Mr. Coyle, my name is Lainey Boyd. My father is Hal Boyd. There is an engraving on a family headstone with his name on it. I would like a copy of the contract. Per policy, ma'am, a copy of a pre-need contract goes to the named purchaser. Are you the named purchaser? No, sir. My brother is. Per policy, what does the named purchaser need to have on file to engrave a living person's name on a stone? Per policy, the authorized family representative must produce a notarized power of attorney for the living party named. Otherwise, the engraving requires the living party's own notarized signature. Mr. Coyle, would you check the file for that paperwork? Ma'am, I would prefer to do that with you in the room. Can you come Tuesday at 10? I can come Tuesday at 10. Tuesday morning. The cemetery office smelled like cold coffee and printer toner. Per policy, I have to read these out loud. The contract was signed by Mark Boyd as authorized family representative. The contract requires a notarized power of attorney for Hal Boyd on file. There is no such power on file. Mr. Coyle, who do I file a complaint with? Per policy, that would be the County Consumer Protection Desk. Off the record, you may also want a lawyer who knows pre-need contracts. On the record, I'll be sending a copy of this contract to my own counsel by Friday. Mr. Coyle, thank you for reading it out loud. June's Kitchen in Wilmington. 2 mugs, a legal pad. Let me tell you something.
Coastal Carolina probate code is plain English, if you stop being scared of it. A transfer on death account belongs to the named beneficiary at the moment of death and to the account holder before it. Hal is alive. Hal owns it. Nobody else gets to spend out of it. Not the wife, not the son, not the saint. June, the engraving was paid out of Daddy's transfer on death. Then your brother took money that was not his to spend on a stone for a man who is not dead. That is not paperwork. That is a felony with a calligraphy upgrade. Daddy doesn't know. Daddy is gonna know. Question is whether he hears it from you on a Sunday porch or from a sheriff's deputy on a Tuesday morning. Pick. Porch. Good. Are you sure you want to take this all the way? Because once we file the first request, your mother stops being your mother and starts being a witness. Here's what I know, June. If I don't, my niece grows up watching her daddy do it to her grandma next.
Then we file. Sunday, the cemetery again. Hal in the passenger seat with his cap on his knee. Now you listen, kiddo. You drove me out here to tell me something. Tell me. Daddy, I want you to look at the stone. Not the dogwood. The stone. Hal stood at the headstone a long minute. A long exhale through the nose. That is my name. On a stone. Next to your mother's. Yes, sir. I did not put it there. No, sir. Mark did. With Daddy's money. Now you listen. I want you to repeat that one more time, so I can hear it twice. Mark engraved your name on this stone, Daddy, and paid for it from the account you set up to leave to me and to him after you're gone. A car pulled into the third row. Mark got out, smooth, tie loose. Dad, hey, Mom called me. Don't get worked up out here in the heat. You agreed to this last summer. You just don't remember. Mark, now you listen. I planted that dogwood in 1979. I know what I planted, and I would know my own name on a stone. Look, with respect, Dad, my memory is slow on my glasses. It is not slow on my signature. Get in your car and drive home. Mark turned to Lainey in the parking lot. A neighbor walking a small dog slowed at the curb. Sis, nobody's mad at you for being confused. We all loved Greg too. The neighbor murmured sympathy at Lainey and walked on. Lainey did not answer her brother. She bit the inside of her cheek and counted to 4. Lainey's kitchen that night. Hal had gone home with a casserole and a long, quiet drive. Kaylee on the front step at 9, a hoodie pulled up, a phone in her hand. Aunt Lainey, I'm just saying, Dad takes calls in the garage now. He never used to. Sweetheart, come inside. You want a sweet tea or a Coke? Coke. I'm just saying, I'm not going to show you anything tonight. I don't have proof. I have my eyes. Kaylee, you are 17. You do not have to be in this. I know, but Granddad's the one who taught me to tie a knot. Lainey put a Coke in her niece's hand and did not push. Kaylee left at 9:45. Her cuff was picked through. 11 p.m., June's text. Let me tell you something. Grief looks great on a witness stand. Wear the cardigan. June, you are a terrible person and I love you. Sleep. Sunday, Mama. Phone again. Sweetheart, Pastor Lyle is worried about you. He says you weren't yourself at the potluck last week. Mama, I wasn't at the potluck last week. Honey, see, that is exactly what I mean. You are losing track of the weeks. I just want what's best for everyone, and what's best is you rest. Mama, I want you to think about who told Pastor Lyle I wasn't myself at a potluck I did not attend. Oh, sweetheart, you sound so tired. Lainey hung up. She walked to her laptop. She opened the state public records portal. Here's what I know. Mama is rehearsing a story with the pastor. Mark is rehearsing a story with the neighbors. Daddy is the only one who has stopped rehearsing. So I'm going to put it all on paper where nobody can rehearse it back out of me. She typed the request. Cemetery pre-need contracts. Boyd, Hal R. County Clerk's Office, 2009. Probate file. Boyd, Robert L. Brokerage records subpoena referral. June's draft attached. Cursor blinking on submit. Greg, I'm sorry I'm doing this on a Sunday. You'd have said do it on a Sunday. She clicked submit. Here's what I know. The records request went in Monday. Then we wait like grown women. You eat today? June, I had toast. Let me tell you something. Toast is not a meal. Toast is a hostage situation. Eat a sandwich. Wednesday. Lainey's phone.
Ms. Boyd, this is Andrew Coyle. Per policy, your records request came back. I'll be honest with you. I should have flagged this contract when it crossed my desk last summer. I've sent the file to your address. I've also sent it to my own counsel.
Mr. Coyle, thank you for being honest.
Per policy, that's not honesty. That's covering my own neck. But you're welcome.
Thursday. A forensic accountant's email. June reading over Lainey's shoulder. Read me the line. June, the beneficiary on Daddy's transfer on death was never changed. The dividend reinvestment instructions were changed. The dividends have been rerouted to a custodial account in Mark's kids' names since 2022. 3 years. That is not a slip. That is a routine. Mark told Daddy that account was untouched. Mark told Daddy a lot of things. Pull the next page.
Friday. 3 hours north. County Clerk's Office. A small room, a high counter, a clerk who slid a brown accordion folder across without looking up.
2009 probate file. Boyd, Robert L. Grandfather. Lainey sat on the courthouse steps and read it twice. Grandpa left me $5,000. There is a release dated 4 days after the funeral. The signature is my name. It is not my handwriting. It is Mark's handwriting, with the L looped wrong. She did not cry on the steps. She walked to her car. She called June from the parking lot. How are you breathing? I'm breathing through my nose, June. I'm not crying on a courthouse step in front of a vending machine. Good. Drive home. Do not stop for gas with that face. Tomorrow we call the woman in Wrightsville Beach. Saturday. A diner in Wrightsville Beach. Patrice Deming at a corner booth. Coffee black. Eyes on the door. Off the record, but I shouldn't be having this coffee.
Mrs. Deming, I am grateful you are.
Patrice, off the record, I have been the office manager at your brother's firm 11 years. I have watched him do a version of this to 2 other families in 3 years. One was an 82-year-old widower in Southport. One was a couple in their 70s in Calabash. Same playbook. Authorized family representative on paperwork the client never signed. Dividend instructions rerouted. The client dies. The family says it must be a mistake. Your brother offers to make it right. And the family settles quiet because they don't want to drag Daddy through court. Patrice, did the firm know? Off the record, our compliance officer flagged him in the spring. The audit window opens in October. He is racing it.
Why are you telling me? Off the record, my mother is 81. She lives in Calabash. The couple from Calabash is her bridge partners. I sat across from your brother at a Christmas party and watched him pat my mother's hand. That's why. Patrice, there is a complaint desk in Raleigh. Off the record, here is the file numbers card. On the record, I will sit in any room you tell me to sit in next month. Sunday, the church potluck. Dottie at the dessert table. 3 friends within earshot. Lainey, sweetheart, come here, let me hug you. Pastor Lyle was just saying how worried we all are about you. I just want what's best for everyone. Mama, you are going to want to stop saying that in front of people. Oh, honey, that came out wrong. Mama, I have 11 months of phone logs with you. I have every Sunday call. I have what you said and the dates you said it. You are rehearsing a story with this congregation about a woman who is not me. Stop.
Dottie's half-beat laugh did not land. The 3 friends at the dessert table found something to look at. Sunday night, Lainey's kitchen. Kaylee at the door, with a phone in her hand and a face Lainey had not seen on her before.
Aunt Lainey, I'm just saying. I took a picture. Sweetheart, come sit. I'm just saying, Dad left his laptop open on the kitchen island and went to the garage for a call. I took the picture. It is a list. It says, Client Transfers, 3rd quarter. Granddad's name is on it, with a number next to it. I do not know what the number means. I know it should not be there. Kaylee, I'm not going to ask you for that photo tonight. I'm just saying, you are not asking. I'm giving. Sweetheart, do you understand what happens if you give me that? Aunt Lainey, Granddad's the one who taught me a clove hitch. I understand.
Lainey took the phone. She did not look at the photo yet. She set it face down. Kaylee, stay here tonight. Spare room. I will text your mother. Monday evening, Lainey and June on the back step. 2 cups of tea. No laptop. No binder.
Let me tell you something. The hardest part of this work is the night your evidence is more honest than your family.
June, I have not slept through the night in 6 weeks.
I know.
I keep setting 2 coffee cups. Now I'm setting 3. 1 for Greg, 1 for me, 1 for whoever I am becoming.
Lainey, are you sure you want to take this all the way?
Here's what I know. If I don't, my niece grows up watching her daddy do it to her grandma next. Yes, all the way.
Then drink your tea. Talk about Greg, just for an hour. Then we go back to work.
June, he hated sweet tea. He said it tasted like cough syrup. He drank it anyway because Mama poured it. Every Sunday for 11 years.
That's a husband.
Tuesday, 2 a.m. Lainey in her car at the cemetery alone. Hands on the wheel, phone in her lap. I could call Mark right now. I could say, let's settle this as a family. I could say, nobody has to know. I could go back to being the one who keeps the peace. Daddy is 73. Mama is 71. They have a few good years left. I could give them those years and let the truth die with them. The phone rang in her lap. How? Kiddo, you are not asleep.
No, sir.
Now you listen. Greg would have wanted you to be steady, not soft. Steady. There is a difference.
Yes, sir.
Drive home. Print the next stack.
Yes, sir.
Wednesday, the hardware store. Mulch aisle. Lainey on her knees reading the back of a bag. A voice on a phone in the next aisle.
I cannot lose this license. I cannot. My kids. Mum can't know. Mum cannot know. Just tell me what the number has to be by Friday, and I will find it.
Lainey stayed on her knees. She did not move until Mark walked out of the store. She left the bag of mulch on the floor.
June.
I almost reached for him.
I know.
I did not. I know. Thursday. Lainey at the cemetery in the morning. A new dogwood seedling in a plastic pot. A trowel. Greg's lure in her pocket. Greg, I'm replanting this. I'm talking to a tree like I used to talk to you.
I'm doing it anyway. Daddy taught me the not. You taught me to keep showing up. I am keeping showing up. She tamped the dirt. She walked back to her car. Thursday night. The kitchen table. 3 folders. June across from her with a pen. Sign here. State securities regulator. Sign here. Small claims petition on behalf of Hal Boyd. Sign here. Pastor Lyle. Request for a meeting. Sign here. Live Oak Memorial Gardens. Request for a contract review meeting with all named parties present. June. Patrice gets a call too. Patrice gets a call. Court date is the 14th. Send it. Lainey's phone. 1 new text. Patrice. I'll be there.
Look, with respect, this is a family matter, and bringing strangers into a cemetery office on a Tuesday morning is exactly the kind of thing I have been worried about with my sister.
Per policy, Mr. Boyd, this room is booked under a contract review request signed by Hal Boyd, who is present, and counsel for Hal Boyd, who is present. Strangers is the wrong word. Andrew, sweetheart, my son just means we are a close family, and we prefer to handle our own.
Dottie, let the man read.
The conference room behind the chapel at Live Oak Memorial Gardens. 8 chairs, a long table, a binder at the center. Lainey on one side with June and Hal, Mark and Dottie on the other, Andrew at the head, Patrice in the chair nearest the door, Kaylee in the lobby with the sealed envelope on her knee.
Per policy, I am going to read the contract that engraved Hal Boyd's name and Dottie Boyd's name on the family marker at Section C, Row 3. The purchaser of record is Mark Boyd, listed as authorized family representative for Hal Boyd. The contract requires a notarized power of attorney for Hal Boyd to be on file. No such power is on file.
Look, with respect, Andrew, that is a paperwork gap. Dad and I had the conversation last summer.
Mark, now you listen. That is not my name on that line, and that is not my permission on that stone.
Sweetheart, you remember. We were on the back porch. You said,
Dottie, I have loved you 47 years. Do not finish that sentence.
Dottie's mouth opened, closed. Andrew, please continue.
Per policy, the engraving contract was paid by check, drawn on account ending in 4819, registered to Hal R. Boyd, transfer on death account at Carolina Coast Brokerage.
Now the second folder. The accountant's summary on top.
I will speak to that one.
Patrice, you are out of your lane.
Mark, I have been your office manager 11 years. I know exactly where my lane is. The dividend reinvestment instructions on the account Andrew just named were changed on March 14, 2022. The change ran through your terminal. The dividends since that date have been deposited into a custodial account in your children's names. Our compliance officer flagged the pattern in April. The audit window opens October 1st.
Mark, is that true? Dad, it is not as simple as Patrice is making it sound.
Now you listen. I asked you a yes or a no.
A long exhale through the nose. Mark did not answer. Mama, I want to come around the table to your side for a minute. Not to fight, to show you something. Lainey carried her binder around the long edge of the table and set it open in front of Dottie.
Mama, these are my call logs with you. 11 months, every Sunday, every Wednesday. What you said, the dates you said it. You told Pastor Lyle I was not handling the grief. You told Mary Ann at Bridge I was forgetting weeks. You told the neighbor I was confused at the cemetery. I want you to tell Pastor Lyle today, in front of Andrew, what I was actually doing on every one of these dates.
Sweetheart, I just want what's...
Mama,
Not that sentence. Not today. Dottie's half-beat laugh did not come. The third folder, please. June laid a photocopy on the table. Next to it, a blank sample of Lainey's signature pulled from her marriage license. 2009. Robert L. Boyd, deceased. Lainey's grandfather. A release of bequest in the amount of $5,000, signed Lainey Boyd, 4 days after the funeral. The L on Lainey is looped the wrong direction. The same loop appears on every signature Mark Boyd has filed in this county for 15 years. We have ordered a handwriting examiner. We have not needed one yet. Per policy, I am going to note for the record that the document Mrs. Ackerman has placed on the table is a county clerk certified copy. Off the record, but I am going to say it on the record now, because I will say it under oath next month anyway. 2 other families, same playbook. The widower in Southport, the couple in Calabash. The file numbers are at the Raleigh complaint desk. I gave them to Miss Boyd 3 weeks ago. Look, with respect, I am ending this meeting and contacting counsel. You are welcome to. The records in this room are public the moment we leave it. That is how public records work. Sis, you do not understand what you have done to this family. Mark, look at me, not at her. Mark looked at his father. A long exhale through the nose, this time from Hal. Now you listen. You signed my name. You spent my money. You told my wife I agreed to things I did not agree to. You told your sister she was losing her mind. You did this to keep a license. I would have given you the license. I would have written the check. You did not have to take it. You took it. Dad, I can fix this. No. The state will fix this. I will not. Andrew slid the binding pre-need contract clause to the center of the table. Per policy, the authorized family representative designation requires a notarized power of attorney on file. None exists. The contract is void. Live Oak Memorial Gardens will refund the engraving fee directly to the account from which it was drawn. The granite will be replaced at our cost. We regret the engraving was made. Andrew, thank you. Per policy, sir, do not thank me. I should have caught it. The lobby door opened. Kaylee walked in with the sealed envelope. She did not look at her father. Aunt June, this is for you. Thank you, Kaylee. Sit by your grandfather. June opened the envelope. A photograph, Mark's laptop. A spreadsheet titled Client Transfers, 3rd Quarter. A line that read, H. Boyd, and a dollar figure. We will not need this today. We will need it next month. Kaylee, look at me. Dad, I'm just saying. Granddad taught me a clove hitch. Mark did not answer his daughter. Here's what I know. I am not the one who did this to this family. Lainey closed the binder. She slid it across the table to Andrew. Per policy. Mark, now you listen. You will not see your mother alone again. You will not sign for your father again. Everything else, the state will handle. Mark stood. He smoothed his tie. He did not speak. He walked out of the conference room. Dottie did not stand. She sat with her hands flat on the table and looked at the binder Lainey had slid across. Lainey, stay a minute. Mama, I will stay 1 minute. Sweetheart, I do not know how to be the woman who is going to walk out of this room. Mama, neither did I. You start by walking out of it. 6 weeks later, the dogwood at the cemetery had taken. Greg, the seedling made it. Daddy said the roots set when I was not looking. He said that is how roots work. The granite had been replaced. 2 names. Robert L. Boyd. Margaret R. Boyd. the right side blank. Now you listen. That is what a stone is supposed to look like before two people are done living.
Yes, sir. Kiddo, your mother is in the car. She is not getting out today. She wanted me to tell you she came. Daddy, tell her I saw the car. Wilmington, the small estate law office. June at her desk, a stack of file copies. Let me tell you something. The state securities regulator opened the formal investigation on the 2nd. The Southport widower's daughter called me Tuesday. The Calabash couple's son called me Wednesday. They want to consolidate. June, consolidate how? 3 families, 1 complaint package, 1 set of file numbers. Restitution gets ordered together or it does not get ordered at all. Your brother loses his license either way. The custodial accounts in his kids' names get frozen pending the audit. The cemetery refunded Daddy's account in full. Andrew Coyle sent a personal letter. I framed mine. June, the small claims petition. Withdrawn. The cemetery made it moot before we needed it. 2009. The county filed the forgery referral with the district attorney's office on Friday. The $5,000 plus 15 years of interest is a separate civil action. I am not filing it yet. You tell me when. June, not yet. When? When Daddy is gone, not before. He does not need to spend his last good years watching me sue his son in court. That is the right call. Lainey's kitchen, a Sunday afternoon. Kaylee on the couch where she had been on the first Sunday 8 months earlier. Same hoodie, different face. Aunt Lainey, Mom moved us to the rental on Oleander. Dad is at Granddaddy Boyd's old cabin until the firm thing is done. I'm supposed to ask you if I can do my senior year at the high school by you instead of by Mom. Sweetheart, have you asked your mother? I'm just saying. She is the one who told me to ask you. Then yes. Aunt Lainey, am I allowed to be sad about my dad? Kaylee, you are required to be sad about your dad. You loved him before you knew. That love is still real. The knowing does not erase it. The knowing means you do not let him do it to anyone else. Both things are true at the same time. You do not have to pick. I'm just saying. Thank you. Tuesday. The clinic where Lainey did per diem reception. Her phone in her hand at lunch. A new text. Patrice. Off the record? The compliance officer asked me to take the manager seat permanently. On the record? I said yes. Coffee Saturday, my treat. Patrice, Saturday, my treat. Argue with me when you see me. Dottie, the first call in 6 weeks. Lainey, Mama. I am not going to say the sentence. Thank you, Mama. Sweetheart. Pastor Lyle came to the house. He sat in your father's chair for 2 hours. He did not say a word for the first one. He let me say all of mine. I said some of them about you. He waited. Then he said one thing. He said, the woman who raised Lainey is the one who has to apologize to Lainey, not the woman who is trying to protect Mark. Mama, I'm not asking you to come over. I'm asking you to let me write you a letter, a real one, on paper. I will not send it until I have read it out loud to your father first. If your father says I am still rehearsing, I will write it again. Mama, write the letter. Lainey, I do not know how long it will take. Mama, take the time. Saturday morning, the cemetery. Lainey alone. The new dogwood greening at the leaf tips. Greg, here's what I know. I did not get my brother back. I am not going to.
Daddy got his name off a stone and his money out of a hole. Mama is writing a letter. Kaylee is sleeping in the spare room. June is filing things in the right order. Patrice is running the office that used to run my brother. The state is doing the rest. I am tired in a way I have not been tired before. It is a clean tired. I used to be tired and ashamed at the same time. Now I am just tired. I will take it. She tamped the soil around the dogwood. She walked back to her car. She did not look back at the stone.